next contestant for this evening is Nancy. So please help me welcome Nancy to the lectern.
Got milk? We've all seen that commercial. And I say, if you've got milk, get rid of it. Fellow Toastmasters, guests tonight, I want to tell you that we do not need dairy products. In fact, it's not natural for us to drink cow's milk. There are many wonderful alternatives to milk. Did you know that the highest dairy consuming nations also have the highest level of osteoporosis? Well, that little fact came from this book, which is full of other research and studies. It's called Don't Drink Your Milk. And Dr. Frank Oski put this book together because of his practice and what he saw happening, especially among the children that were drinking lots of milk. Now, there are many different diseases and health problems that are associated with milk. For example, linked to drinking milk are things like iron anemia, ear infections, asthma, acne, even rheumatoid arthritis has been associated with lots of milk. And there's a greater risk of getting certain diseases if you're drinking lots of milk. For example, cancer. The chance of cancer is increased. Heart attack is increased. Even Lou Gehrig's disease, multiple sclerosis, and leukemia all are relating to dairy products. And another scary one that amazed me came from a book I read called Food and Behavior. This is written by Barbara Stitt. Now, Barbara Stitt is a parole officer. She works in the police department. And she would work especially with first-time offenders. And over time, she began to notice a pattern. And sure enough, she would begin taking down the diet of what these people ate. And one of the things that she saw that was consumed, gallons, was milk. So she began changing their diets a little bit, and she would cut back or cut out the dairy and observe them. And lo and behold, sure enough, their behavior would begin to improve. And she would see dramatic changes. And they'd begin to be happy people who wanted to contribute to society. And they wouldn't regress unless they went back to their eating habits that they had before. And this doesn't just work with criminals, it's found to work with kids as well. Kids with autism, with ADD, just hyperactive kind of kids, if they take the dairy away, they find that their behavior improves. So it's quite amazing to me, and I was really interested in that kind of information. They found also that a lot of these kids and adults ended up being allergic to milk. They didn't even know they were allergic to it. And lots of people have sensitivities to milk and are allergic, and they don't even realize the impact it can have on their health. Now, why, I wonder, is everybody so, all these people allergic to milk? Well, I say it's because milk is not natural. Cow's milk is for cows, cats, right? Not humans. I mean, you think about it now. Have any of you ever been, to those wildlife parks where you drive through, or been to, well, just watching a nature show on TV? And have any of you ever just happened to see, say, a zebra nursing off of a giraffe, or a baby lion suckling up to a gorilla? I don't think so, right? We don't see it. I mean, the only time you'd ever see it is if there's a dying animal and a human intervened, right, and they try to give them to another animal to nurse it. So it's not a natural thing, We don't normally see humans out hanging underneath of a cow. I mean, we would laugh at that, but that's what we're doing every day. So the other thing that is different and not natural about dairy products is that we are the only mammal that keeps drinking milk after we're weaned. You take babies, and by the time they about triple their weight is when they're usually weaned. So here it comes, they're weaned, and for our humans, it's usually by the time they're 2, most babies are weaned. And yet, here we go, and And we keep drinking milk, drinking milk, drinking milk. But no other mammals do that. And in fact, what's interesting is our own bodies tell us that we don't need milk anymore, because between the age of 2 and 5, we stop making the digestive enzyme that breaks down milk. You've heard about lactose intolerance. Well, pretty much all adults are lactose intolerant. It's just that some are much more sensitive, so they're the ones labeled. But all of us lose that ability to digest the milk properly. And so you wonder why there's all this indigestion and problems, and everybody's taking Tagamet and everything else under the sun for their stomach. Well, that's why, because it's not natural. Our bodies aren't made to keep drinking milk. Now, I know what you're asking me, because you're saying to me, well, Nancy, where am I going to get my calcium, right? That's what everybody says you're going to have milk. If you're not, there's many alternatives, okay? There is things, well, let me ask you this. Where does the cow get its calcium? Grass. Greens, right? Exactly, grass. If we eat kale, collards, spinach, they're full of calcium. They're great for us, healthy. Put them in your salad, fry them up, whatever you want to do with them. The other thing that are good are sesame seeds and almonds. They're very high. If you've ever had tahini, that's that sesame paste, real good. Broccoli is excellent, George wouldn't get his calcium from that, but we can have broccoli. Then there's sweeter things that kids will eat more likely, strawberries, raspberries, oranges. They are all full of calcium. So we have lots of alternatives. But the other question is, and I know you're thinking this because a lot of you love it, they're going to say, well, what am I going to put on my cereal? I'm not going to put collard greens on my cereal. Okay, we've got alternatives. My family uses soy milk. Great alternative to dairy, to cow's milk, or you can use rice milk, another good alternative. And what's great about these is they come vanilla, chocolate, original flavor. So you can get lots of different kinds. They have other brands you can try. We tried several before we found what our family liked. So they're good alternatives for things like cereal if you still want to have milk somehow, and have this instead. And of course, drinking milk, well, forget that. Just drink water, right? We all need more water anyway. Just drink water. But you can see there's lots of alternatives for having, instead of dairy, and there's lots of ways to get calcium instead. And it's certainly not natural for us to have milk from a cow. And with all of the studies, it shows that our health will no longer benefit from having cow's milk. So I say to you, therefore, if you've got milk,